The 2020 F1 season was that of pure chaos. Firstly, the Australian Grand Prix was cancelled after a COVID outbreak within the F1 paddock. I'm pretty sure McLaren had it first. And then sim racing happened, which I already kind of covered it in my R Factor 1 video, go check it out. Races were getting cancelled left and right, as well as the inaugural Vietnam Grand Prix, which never happened. In fact, it will never happen because some government corrupt stuff. I mean, classic Southeast Asia. But outside of the entire world literally crumbling to bits, F1 was actually very chaotic in 2020. The driver market craze with Vettel leaving Ferrari and Alonso rejoining F1 with Renault, who will actually rebrand to Alpine the following season. Then Ricciardo signs, blah 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 blah. George Russell almost won his first race. Perez won his first race, as well as Pierre Gasly. Lewis Hamilton beat Michael Schumacher's number of wins and also tied Michael Schumacher's number of championships. It was also peak F1 cars. These were the fastest F1 cars ever were. But out of all this, we got the greatest F1 game of all time. Now personally, I think F1 2012 is better, but the general public seem to agree that F1 2020 is the greatest F1 game ever, so we'll just roll with that opinion. And since it was lockdown, everyone and their brother, their grandmother, their grandfather, their cousin, their lawyer, even their president was playing F1 2020 because there's nothing else better to do. So in today's video, we're going to be covering what made F1 2020 so great. So here we are in the menu of F1 2020, and in the words of Troy Dan,
damn, look at these studs. Luca, Kawhi Leonard, Pau Gasol, Ricky Rubio.
And here's the main menu. Look at that. I only completed 4 seasons of my team. We also have some driver career stuff. I don't know how far I went through in those, but whatever. This is also the last year of classic cars, but we'll look into that after looking at the actual cars from 2020. First, we have the greatest F1 car of all time. And yep, this livery, better than the silver one. I don't care what y'all say. This was the last year where the underfloor was boxy, and then the following year they made the underfloor tighter. Now, top speed wise, this car wasn't really that great, but downforce wise, oh my days, look at the cornering here at Spa, Silverstone. It really shows at flowing tracks. Not really in high downforce tracks, but at flowing tracks, it really shows how much grip this car actually had. Lewis Hamilton also beat Michael Schumacher's number of wins. He also won the championship at the Turkish Grand Prix. What a race that was. I actually have the Turkish Grand Prix W11 here. It's by Mini Champs. I think it's a great model. It has race dust and interslicks. 10 out of 10 car. Is it my favorite of the V6 era though? No, my favorite of the V6 era is the W09. But I think it looks better than the W10. Next, we have the Ferrari SF1000. This car was tragic. But yeah, this car grip levels were just terrible. There was no straight line speed either, unlike its predecessor. It had an illegal engine in 2019. It's already been proven. And they had a deal with Charlie Whiting to keep these engines. But since Charlie Whiting died at the start of the 2019 season, they couldn't carry it over to 2020. And there was also a massive team protest. So this was the last year of Ferrari being sponsored by Hublot before they moved to Richard Mille the next season, and yeah, that was a great decision by them.
What is Charles wearing? Nah, done. F*** Hublot. F*** off, c***s.
Charles Leclerc absolutely wiped Sebastian Vettel off the park that season. Leclerc got 2 podiums, Austria and Silverstone. At least Vettel got his podium in that chaotic Turkish Grand Prix, but he only finished a point ahead of Danny Kvyat, which is very disappointing. So yeah, SF1000. Next, we have the Red Bull RB16. The biggest difference between this and the RB15 is the nose. You can see they went for a skinny nose. I'm pretty sure Mercedes were the only ones for a few years who had a skinny nose. All the other teams had a fat nose. And yeah, they copied that concept and they did pretty well in 2020, only winning 2 races. Actually, Verstappen did alright. Albon didn't. As I mentioned in my Verstappen tier list, Max was very unlucky in 2020, which I'm not gonna go through that again. Watch that video after this one, of course. Next, we have Carlos Sainz's last McLaren and also the last Renault sponsored McLaren. They're supposed to be a Velo or Views sponsor on the side pod, but they're a vape company, so you can't advertise that to children. They should make this game PEGI 18 to add those. Yeah, the matte orange on this car combined with the metallic blue just pops out brilliantly. This car is remembered for Lando Norris getting a podium in the first race of the season. Remember Scenario 7? That was a big thing back then. And Carlos Sainz almost winning the Italian Grand Prix. Pretty sad that he wasn't able to, but Gasly deserved it more. This was the second year of McLaren's resurgence, and in 2021 it showed. Next, we have the Renault RS20, the last Renault in F1 before Alpine came in 2021. Yeah, it looks like every other Renault from 2017 to 2020. I think the 2018 one was the best, but this still looked great. I think this looked better than the previous year, mainly because of the skinnier nose. Daniel Ricciardo got 2 podiums this season, which, fun fact, was the same amount he got in 2018. One in the Nürburgring and one in Imola. And also Esteban Ocon returning to F1 after a year hiatus in 2018 and then getting a podium at the Sakir Grand Prix. Imagine if they kept Hülkenberg. He could have gotten his first podium. This was also the last season of Cyril Abiteboul, the DTS merchant. Next, the first AlphaTauri after taking over from Toro Rosso. Yeah, but this car, everyone was raving over this when AlphaTauri unveiled it. But that car presentation was a nightmare. It was a fashion show, not an F1 car presentation. I think this is the best out of all the AlphaTauris. Maybe the 2021 comes close to it, but I don't think so. This looks better. This was known for Pierre Gasly's first win at the Italian Grand Prix. I just remember being mind blown from that race, because we all thought Lewis will just run away with it as always, but after the Charles Leclerc crash, everything changed. This was also Danny Kvyat's last season in F1 before being replaced by Yuki Tsunoda the next year. I thought it was the wrong decision at the time, but as time passes, it has shown to be the correct decision. Next, the Mercedes W10. I'm obviously joking. Yeah, remember the pink Mercedes memes? But I think this car looked great. I think it looks better than the RP19. Sergio Perez won his first race at the Sakira Grand Prix. What a race that was as well. I'm pretty sure they had a 15-point deduction for using Mercedes brakes. Stroll was able to get 2 podiums this season and also a pole position, which I guess shows how good this car was. Nah, I'm joking. 2020 Stroll was actually pretty good. It fooled me to think that he'll become a future world champion. Next, the Alfa Romeo. It was pretty forgetful from Alfa Romeo in 2020. Both drivers only scored 4 points, and most of the time I just forgot they existed. Antonio Giovinazzi had the same crash in Belgium as he had in 2019. Next, we have the VF20. This was a year after the whole Rich Energy stuff, but it turns out Rich Energy wouldn't be the most controversial thing Haas would face. Papa Mazepin, Ukraine, Russia, blah blah blah. We all know what happened at the Bahrain Grand Prix, Roman Grosjean eating the barrier. Is that disrespectful to say? I don't know, even Grosjean makes fun of himself for that crash. And finally, we have the Williams. This wasn't the livery they were gonna start off the season with. Remember this thing? The Colgate livery, but Rocket pulled out of the sponsorship and we had to look at this instead, which it still looks great, but it could have been much better. And this is how you know a team is struggling financially. They put the F1 logo on their car. Alright, let's look at some classic cars right now. It's the same as 2019, but it just added these 2 Benettons as well as the 2000 Ferrari. This is the Cheater Benetton and this is the won the championship fair and square Benetton. I think it's now time to head to a time trial session, and obviously we're going to be using the greatest F1 car of all time. Actually, you know what? Let's use Suzuka because this car never was able to race at Suzuka. So, alright, here we go. Haven't played this game in a while, so I have to get used to this handling again. It's already better than F1 24. I think you can tell that I really don't like F1 24 because I've only made like 3 videos on it. So, oh no. I mean, handling feels great. It's much better than F1 2019 because you can actually sort of feel the car being planted to the ground. You can feel the back end. I think this is the second best handling model that an F1 game has. In my opinion, F1 2018's is much better than this, but this is still really, really good. Now this car, the Mercedes W11, one thing that a lot of people may not know is that this car doesn't exist anymore because they were all evolved into the W12, but the W11 in its purest form doesn't exist anymore. Well, unless hypothetically you took the W12 and you just replace it with W11 parts. Maybe that could work. Flat out at 130R. Alright, gained a lot of time through there, nice. 27.7, that's alright. I just wanted to get into the 27, so I did what I had to do. Alright, so I think we're going to use Max Verstappen at Zandvoort because this is the first F1 game at Zandvoort. I know this is the first and only F1 game at Vietnam, but I want to do a standalone video for Vietnam. Alright, here we go. Lined up on the grid. And it's going to be 5 red lights. And away we go. Decent getaway. Never mind, I hit the wall. I wanted to get a launch into Leclerc and get that position instantly. Seems like Sebastian Vettel got a great start. So does Lewis Hamilton. He jumps into P1. from P3, I remember. And now we're stuck behind Albon, which is unrealistic because Albon's the one who's supposed to be behind me, but we'll see. Oh no, Ocon, what are you doing? Almost had a collision there. And you can see now Sebastian Vettel is beginning the SF1000 train. You can see Leclerc is trying to create a move on Sebastian Vettel. Not really doing so right now. Alright, let's see if we can get a good launch from the banking and trying to overtake Albon into turn 1. No, he might be too far behind. Oh my gosh. I almost hit those pit walls. Those pit boards, I mean. Trying to go around the outside. I'm trying this line. I don't think I would have made that move on Albon if I stuck to the inside. I'm pretty sure this track is laser scanned. And also the first laser scan track to be on an F1 game. Alright, the goal is to get on the podium to fulfill the Hambot Ver prophecy. It's a bit too far, isn't it? Ooh. That was a bit dodgy, but that's fine. It's an average Verstappen dive bomb. Alright, time to get past Charles Leclerc, who isn't able to get past Sebastian Vettel. The Honda engine in this game sounds amazing, unlike what we have in F124. Alright, that was a great exit. Let's use the DRS now. A bit of fuel mode as well. Not really working. Ooh, another dive bomb. He squeezes me really tight there, but we get past. Our eyes set on Sebastian Vettel now. Let's see what he can do. Oh, fell too far back. That's fine. Too much throttle input there, but we didn't lose the whole car. So again, that's fine. And now mega slipstream incoming on Sebastian Vettel, turning on the ERS early. And yep, there we go, switching around the outside now. Leaving the door slightly open, that's fine. And we get past. And yup, the Hambot Ver prophecy has been fulfilled. Man, absolutely sending this car feels super satisfying. Unlike on F124, which the only way to be even remotely quick is to always send the car. But in this game, it just feels really satisfying. And I'm losing a bit of focus right now. I should shut up. Anyways, Lewis Hamilton is going to win this race. But I'm going to come in P3 in a pretty fun battle. So yeah, here we go. Whee! Man, Lewis should really consider bringing back the black and purple helmet. I think it looks better than the yellow one. But what do you think? Which one do you like more? Press 5 for the purple. Press 4 if you like the yellow one more. Alright, Alex Albon P6. Charles Leclerc P5. Alright, nothing really surprising there. Grosjean almost getting points. And George Russell's last. Latifi fell down 4 positions. What? Anyways, what should we do next? Alright, let's just head up on my team, even though I'm probably not going to touch it. Back when there was no Philippines flag in the game. I don't know why it took them until F123 to add the Philippines flag. It doesn't make sense, but hey, they finally do. Alright, team details, name, Borussia Dortmund. Alright, sponsor, which one looks most like 1&1? This one maybe? This one? I don't know, Distort. You know what, let's take Slingshot Fuel because they're oil and we should give Dortmund some sponsor money. Alright, engine, Mercedes, of course, Dortmund is German. And drivers, where's our Lord and Savior? Where is... He's not here. He's not here. Oh wait, we can choose Antoine Hubert. Welcome, Antoine Hubert. Rest in peace, Antoine. What a career you could have had. Oh no, we're actually 600,000 in debt. Alright. This one. There you go. Alright, livery select. You didn't have that much to choose from. But I always chose this because you can mod in liveries from this RaceNet thing, so yeah. And the team badge. Let's make a Borussia Dortmund badge. So it's a circle, emblems. Is there a B? Is there a B here? There's no B. There's no B. Among Us. Yeah, and you know what? Among Us. Yeah, let's actually change our name. There you go. This is so 2020. Alright, team colors. It doesn't matter. We're already the sus imposter from among us. I don't really care. We're not going to do a single race. Doesn't Will Buxton do the interviews? Yes, he does. I'm not gonna bother. We're just gonna skip all this. So to end off today's video, we're gonna be driving a classic car. Considering this was the last F1 game with classic cars, and the car we're gonna drive is the Ferrari F190/641. It's my favorite 90s F1 car. It's not my favorite F1 car of all time. That's F2007. Another 90s F1 car I quite like is the Jordan 191, and there's a pretty fun story to this. So 7-Up are a Pepsi company, right? And Pepsi basically stopped sponsoring Jordan to put all their funds into the Michael Jackson Dangerous tour, which I'm a Michael Jackson fan, so that's a pretty fun story. That's also my favorite Michael Jackson tour. I like it more than Bad. Yes, fight me. Here's a Jordan 191 with the Pepsi decals instead of the 7-Up, and I think they look great. But we're gonna be using the Ferrari 641 because it's my favorite 90s F1 car. And we'll do it at Paul Ricard. I know new F1 fans hate Paul Ricard. I still quite like Paul Ricard. Prost won the 1990 French Grand Prix, and it was at Paul Ricard. Yes, new F1 fans, F1 race at Paul Ricard before 2018. So here we go, lined up on the grid, waiting for 5 red light and lights out, and away we go. Hit a pretty terrible start. I think we lose 3 places just in the straight. Amazing. You go down the inside at turn 1. Okay, that was pretty good. Make back P9. See how many positions you can make here. Getting the slipstream off the car ahead. But this engine, though, sounds amazing as I cut the corner. Sorry, mate. Illegal. Alright. As I was saying, this engine sounds amazing. I think the V12s are the best sounding F1 engines in history. The V8s are nostalgic, and the V10s are a bit too whiny. This is not too whiny, and it has like a deep tone. I like deeper tones in engines, which is why I don't really hate the V6s. They're really bunched up. There you can see 3 wide. Going to the swooping right-hander here. Alright, can you do a switch back? 2 in 1 corner? That's too much. You have to back out of that. If not, you probably would have collided. No, I'm not going to lose a position. Okay. Proximity arrow, go away. Can you find the outside or just go for it on the inside? Nope. Too little room. Was this the first sequential F1 car in history? I can't really remember. My 90s F1 knowledge isn't really that good. I'm more of a 2000s guy. Like, I know a lot about the 2005, the current period. Not really before that. Maybe a bit of 2003. But not really with the 90s. And especially not with the 50s to the 80s. Alright, still not making any positions here. Just go for it. Yep. Everyone just battling in front. And then there's this one guy just running away with a win. Oh my gosh, this is some intense wheel-to-wheel racing right now. Alright, let's see if we can make a position. Finally, yes we do. Can you make one more? 2 more in fact. As we get into P6, podium is definitely on the cards. Alright, braking a bit so I don't run into the back of him. Through the chicane. Nope, not enough room. I've been calling that a chicane the whole time, even though it's more like a hairpin. So, yeah, my bad. But able to set up those brilliant moves. Now we're up into P6. Maybe if it was a 5-lap race, we would be in the running for a podium. I think I'm moving too many times on the straight, though. Just, yeah, I'm desperately trying to keep this position. I don't want to drop anymore. Yeah, this Azumi guy is pretty slow, so let's try and take advantage of that. I still don't know why they removed classic cars. They should bring it back. Licensing, yeah, I know, but if they can have supercars, they definitely can have classic cars. Like, bring them P419 or one of those late 90s to early 2000s Jordan cars. Okay, I wanted to go for the inside, but he covered it. Never. Oh my gosh. Yes. What happened? Nothing happened. Anyways. Oh, come on. Just missing out on the podium. Come on, can we still... Can we do a kamikaze on the last corner? Charles Leclerc in Monaco. Never mind. Ah, damn it. Well, it could have been a P3, but I'll settle with P4. That's still alright. Well, that was pretty fun, driving these classic cars again. But now it's time to get into the conclusion of this video. So what makes F1 2020 the greatest F1 game? Well, I think it's because it had everything. It had classic cars, it had F2 cars, It had F1 cars. It introduced my team. The online wasn't buggy at all. It was just perfect compared to the disaster classes that have came out since. And it was also lockdown, so what better things did we have to do other than sit all day and play F1 2020? And I think another good reason is that the release of this game coincided with the real life F1 season. I think it only released a week after the Austrian Grand Prix. That can be a really good reason because if you're new to F1 games, they never release at the same time the season begins. They always release like mid-season or something like that. So that'll do it for today, but before we leave,